All right, welcome to the Library Research Workshop. My name is Denise Cruz. I'm a librarian here at Regent. Looking forward to helping you all understand some of our great tools that we have and how you can use them for research. A lot of our students are online at Regent, so one thing I'll be showing you is just how you can access basically everything wherever you are. If you're on campus, this will be relevant to you as well. I'm recording you just to let you know. And please sign your name or make a comment in chat if you need your attendance recorded, just to make sure that I have a record of it. So I have a PowerPoint here, and I'm going to then share my screen to show you a few things. Also, feel free to use the chat if you have any questions or topic suggestions as I'm showing you research. So you see my email address here, and please email me if you have any questions or want to set up an appointment for research or any technical questions, basically anything, or want help with a research topic. So the way that I like to think of research is coming at it from different directions and different perspectives to make sure that you get the most thorough view of your topic and what's out there on it. So I like to say 3 easy steps to remember: Primo, databases, and Google. So I'm going to go over kind of the benefits of each one of those and why I think each one is necessary in the process and how each one can be used in conjunction with our library. So Primo, databases, and Google Scholar, and then I'll show you those in a minute. So before I get into that, I want to just put in a word just for using the library in general. I know some people try to get through college or even maybe grad school without using the library, maybe because they don't know what's there or they don't know how to use it. But I wanted to let you know there are a lot of good reasons to use the library. You're paying for it with your tuition dollars, and most of our sources are online. We also have a large collection of print books in the physical library that you can access even if you live at a distance. They can be shipped to you in the mail. You can have a chapter copied for yourself over email. And we can even get sources from other libraries around the country that we don't own, but we will get them for you. So there's a lot, those are great free services to you as a student or faculty or staff. So in other words, the library provides sources that are free, high quality, wide ranging, meaning they cover a lot of different topics, and they're easy to find using our tools. So those are good reasons for using the library and not just the internet, but using the library on the internet. So the first thing I want to talk about is Primo. So Primo is our kind of new high-tech search tool that we got a year ago. It replaced Summon, which some of you might remember, but Primo is great because it searches our books in the library, but also our databases at the same time. So this is something a lot of people don't realize. If your professor says use the databases at the library or find articles at the library, you can also use Primo for that. You don't have to go to the databases because Primo is actually searching the databases for you. I think someone has sound on. If you could just mute your sound, that would be helpful. In addition to searching the databases, it searches our physical print books. It suggests things we don't even own that we can borrow for you from other libraries. It also searches the web for free sources online that are good quality sources. So Primo is like a one-stop shop that's going to search a lot of different places for you. It's very broad. It's a big search, and so it's a good place to start. It also has some great features and tools that I'm going to show you. So if you don't know where to start and you're just trying to see what we have at the library, start with Primo. And of course, my 3 steps, Primo, databases, and Google Scholar, those can be done in different order if you want to, but I do recommend trying all of those places for your research. So I usually start with Primo first to see what we have and what comes up first. And Primo is also good if you aren't quite sure what keywords you're using or if those are good keywords to research. If you put them in and nothing comes up or nothing relevant comes up, then you probably need different terminology, or you need less terminology, maybe fewer words, or you need to spell it right, or something needs to change with your keywords. And Primo will kind of clue you into that, and it might give you some hints, like if a book or an article comes up that you like, start copying the terminology that you see in that source and then use it to try to find other sources like that. So Primo is our main library search engine. It's great. It's a great tool, always updating it and improving it. And so I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute, but I want to go on to a few things we're going to look at in Primo. We're going to look at filters, which is how to narrow down your search. We're going to look at operators, which is how to make sure your search is really focused on what you actually need and really effective. And we're going to look at how to save your favorites in there, how to use the tabs in Primo, how to export sources from Primo to other places, how to use interlibrary loan and hold request links, and then how to use subject and author headings. All right, and so that's step one, Primo. And I'll give you links to these in just a minute as well. The next step in research is databases. So databases are also searched by Primo, but it's also good to go into them by themselves. And that is because they are focused on just your subject. So if your subject is education or literature or history or theology, there are going to be databases in just that subject, or business or psychology or computer science. And so it's good to try those because it gives you a little more focus, and it's only going to bring up sources in your field. And it's going to have special tools in it to help with your field of research. So like our religion databases will have a special scripture tool where you can look up just a specific verse of the Bible and find articles on it. So I recommend using those specific subject databases. And you can find those through Primo. There's a tab at the top of Primo that says A to Z databases, and it lists all the databases. There's a lot of databases, so that's why it's good to narrow them down to just your subject, and I'll show you how to do that. We also have research guides at the library, which are web pages the librarians have made to help you find the right databases and the right things for your subject. So what about Google? Are you allowed to use Google? Yes, Google is a great tool, and don't neglect it. Of course, there are problems with it. For example, a lot of stuff on Google is behind a subscription paywall. Not everything on Google is quality. A lot of it's biased or trying to sell you something. The results that come up can have a bias to them as well, like the order they put them in. So and some of it's not credible, but with those caveats in mind, Google is also a very powerful search. So we want to harness that power, because say you're stumped and you can't find sources in Primo or databases and you're not sure which words to use to look up your topic, or you don't know much about your topic, then Google is a good place to start to get background knowledge, find your terminology, read some brief articles, maybe even Wikipedia to get background information. And you can use those Google actually to link back to our library with a special tool called Libkey. And so I'm going to show you that. It's also predictive, which means it's going to try to like almost read your mind for what you're looking for based on what other people have searched with similar keywords. So Google is, not something we want to ignore because it can be useful, but we want to learn to evaluate what we see, if it's good or not. We don't want to just take everything that's out there and think it's factual. But I want to show you today Google Scholar, which is a tool you might not have used, but it's a great tool that looks for specifically academic sources and books. And it's going to link back to our library's articles in our databases if you link it to us. So it's a really cool tool that you can use in conjunction with our library databases. And like I said, Google is great when you're stuck and you don't know the keywords. If you use Google Scholar, you can use more keywords than you would use in Primo, and you can use variations on them, and it's a little more flexible with how it searches. So I already mentioned this. Also, there's a lot of nice free websites out on Google, like government websites, newspapers, magazines, think tanks, nonprofits, churches, ministries, charities. All of these organizations put free websites and sometimes articles and even archives or free ebooks or free articles out there. So museums and libraries sometimes put free stuff up, and universities. So we don't want to ignore what's out there on the internet as well. All right. So the next thing I want to show you is my page of bookmarks, which, I mean, these are key websites you'd want to bookmark. And I'm going to go through all of these right now. All right. So can someone suggest a topic that you're maybe thinking about researching or you are researching right now? And can use those topics as some sample topics. If anyone wants to type into the chat. And I'm going to just share my screen to show you some things. All right, so you should see the library homepage right here on your screen. Let me know if you can't see that. For some reason I have to admit people into the meeting. I didn't realize that. Okay, just if everyone could turn off your sound, that would be helpful. Turn off your microphone so that. Okay, so Trudy says government-controlled healthcare. If you're just coming into the meeting, if you could turn off your microphone, that would be great. Okay, so censorship is another one. All right, those are good ones. So when you're on the library homepage, and by the way, this is a good page to bookmark right here. If you don't know how to bookmark, you can click the star up here, or you can drag the lock down to your bookmark. And notice I have a lot of bookmarks up here because it just makes it easier to access things you need quickly without having to look for them. You can also just Google Regent University Library or, various things, and that's an easy way to find them as well. Notice these 4 blue bars. These are going to be really key blue bars for you. The Ask a Librarian page gives you all different ways you can contact the librarians for help. You can do an instant chat with a librarian. You can call the front desk and ask to speak to a librarian. You can submit a question that I or someone will answer quickly. You can email us. You can make an appointment for a research appointment on our calendar right here where it says Libcal. So that is right on our homepage. And those are all great options to get help from librarians. That's what we're here for, to help you with your research. So, but I want to show you starting with Primo. See this first bar? So that is your first step with research. You can enter keywords in here, like censorship or something like that. But I'm going to just click search to kind of show you the full Primo search experience. Now, I want you to notice a couple things. This is Primo, and it's called Primo because it's #1. It's the best, right? It's also your first step because Primo means first, right? And it's your first step in research. But let's sign in. You want to always make sure you sign in because that will allow you to see all the online sources and also save your favorites and things like that. So now I'm signed in and I know that because my name appears in the top right, and I can open my personal library account and I can see any books I have loaned to me or any requests that I've made for things I need the library to get for me. I can also look at my favorites, which are things I've saved in Primo. And then I can look at my search history and I can look at my RefWorks account. So that's a free account that you get as a Regent student or employee that is going to save your sources for you, but also create a bibliography for you in your format, whether it's MLA, APA, Chicago, Turabian. It will help you format a bibliography and save time. So I recommend using that one as well. And these are just really great tools, all of these. So that is your account. Make sure you're signed in when you're using Primo. So let's try the person that wanted to look at censorship. Was there anything more specific? And like, or you said book censorship, but I'm not sure. Do you mean like the practice of libraries not putting certain books in the library, or do you mean like a government censorship in other countries, or do you mean online censorship? Because we want to narrow it down somewhat. Well, I'll show you, just to start with, I'll show you what would happen. Okay, school boards and parents. That's what I thought you might mean. Okay, so censorship itself is kind of a loaded word, right? Because it's sort of a negative word. So if we put that in, we're probably going to get a lot of historical stuff about censorship. And also, if we find the current stuff, it's going to be taking the view that the libraries and schools should never censor books, even when they're like sexual in content and stuff like that. So it'd probably be mostly things that are like against that. So we'd want to figure out some other words possibly to get the other side of this story too. But let's see how much comes up with censorship. We're going to get a lot because I'm searching everything. And here you can also narrow it down to just look at the catalog, which is books, or just look at articles. So I'm just going to try this to see how many things come up. And I can add more keywords than this, but I'm just going to try. Okay, so we have 280,000 results with censorship, so that's a lot. We probably want to narrow it down more, but it's also nice to do a broad search to see what's available. So notice all these are books. So they say available at Regent University Library General Collection, and they give you a number here, which is with a letter Z657C39 and a year. That's the year of publication of the book. And the call number is how you find it on a bookshelf. So you just come in the library, look at the shelf, see the numbers on the end of the bookcase and find it. And so Z would be up on the second floor where most of our books are. Our A through like the middle of B section is on the first floor. And everything is by topic. So notice there's other books on censorship under Z657. So you could actually go to that section in the library and browse on the shelf and find all the books on censorship. And then you could sort of compare them and see which one you like the best, which one is relevant, and so on. If you want a more recent source, you can also look at the year if that matters. Now, what if you live at a distance? Can you still use our books? Yes, you can just click on the book and kind of look at the summary of it to see if it's relevant to you. Down here, it might give a summary, or like here, it might give chapter titles. It gives the author's name. So it also gives a subject heading. So I could click on this subject heading and find other sources on censorship, which is a very neat tool to remember. Anything green can be clicked on and it can help you find more sources. You can click on the author's name and find more books by her. You can also check the publisher to see if it's a good publisher. And if you don't know much about this publisher, you might want to look it up. Is it an academic publisher? Is it a religious publisher? Is it what kind of publisher is that? To know if it fits the requirements of the sources that you need. But look at these links in black where it says request. These are great. They say request Regent's copy or request PDF of chapter. Now, if you live at a distance, you can click request Regent's copy and then put pickup location personal delivery and then put in your address. If you live near campus, you can select the library as your pickup location and the front desk will find it and put it on hold for you. And then you just send the request. So if you need a chapter copy because you live at a distance and you just need that chapter fast, or you live close by and you just want that chapter to save in your records or take notes on, either way, anyone can request a chapter, and you just put in the page numbers or the chapter title or whatever information you know about what you need. Or if you don't know all that information, it's okay because the interlibrary loan can usually figure it out. So that is really nice. Now up here, notice you can also grab a link here, copy a link to this source. You can cite it in your preferred citation format to help you with your formatting for your bibliography. You can print this out, email it to yourself. You can export it to your RefWorks account, which is where you can form a bibliography of all your sources in your preferred format. So that will save you time. You can also put it in your favorites if you just click on this little thumbtack up here, and that will save it in your own personal Primo account under your big thumbtack by your name, and then you can go back and look at your sources. And you can also organize your favorites into labels, which are like folders for your research. So notice there's also ebooks, and those are books you can read online. And if you find an ebook, you will click on EBSCO or whatever green link is here under View Online. So that's a database that holds that ebook. And you want to click on that and make sure you're signed in so you can get into the database. And then it's going to take you right to an ebook where you can either read it online or sometimes download part of the book at a time. Like here it says you can save 100 pages at a time. They don't necessarily want you to download the whole book at once. But you can read it right away, which is great. And you can also get citation format in this database, or you can continue searching in the database if you'd like to. So that is an ebook. And if you ever have a problem with the link, you can always just contact the library or click on the little exclamation point at the bottom right if there's ever a problem with any of the links. All right, but what if I need articles? If my professor said articles, I can go over here under these filters in the left margin, and these are going to be your best friend because when you have almost 300,000 results, you're going to need to narrow it down. Notice it gives you subjects you can narrow it down to. It gives you types of materials. It gives you availability. Like if I only want online sources, I can click this and I'm only going to see things that I can immediately read online. If I only want peer-reviewed journal articles, which are like academic journal articles, then I can click that. If I do online, it will give me both articles and ebooks normally and videos. Now, under material type, I might click articles. I do that a lot to narrow it down. I can also click ebooks or books, and I can click dissertations, which are like things that PhD students write, and I can click reference down here, which is a really useful one if I want to define a word. Reference means like dictionaries and encyclopedias, which are like really quick articles to read. So if I just want a quick definition of censorship, I like to use reference entries and then see all of these are online because I already filtered it down to online only. So now it's going to take me to the Oxford Encyclopedia of the Islamic World, so specifically censorship in the Muslim world or American. I can pick whatever dictionary or encyclopedia I want, and there's a lot to choose from here. So I might pick this one, the media and communication, or maybe I want a historical definition of censorship. Now, what if I need to do a new search? I'm going to click new search to clear out my search in Primo just to make sure that it's a new fresh search. And maybe I want to try a couple different terms. So I'm going to use what's called operators, which are words like or, and, or not to use to combine my terms. So maybe I want censorship or book banning. I could take either one. Or maybe I want to put an asterisk at the end of ban. And the reason I did that is because then it will bring up the word ban or bans or banning. It will bring up any word ending. And notice I put the or in capital letters to make sure that it works as an operator so that the search engine knows I want one or the other of these terms. Now, what if I want also another term? I can put this in parentheses. And I can also add another term using and. And means I have to have both terms on both sides of the and. So maybe I want school board. That's what something that Jordan mentioned. So that's going to bring up more current sources because this school board dispute about whether schools should have like certain kinds of books, like sexual books and things like that, is something that school boards are debating. So notice that this one came up about Harry Potter. You know, we might want to narrow it down to something more recent if we want this current stuff. So I could sort by date newest, or I could go down and limit by year where it says the year of the source, where it says publication date. I could go just the last couple years and then click refine. And so that's going to bring up more things that are relevant to this exact topic. And then if I like these sources, but I want to keep searching, I can just click my favorite button, which is the thumbtack, or I can grab the link by clicking on the chain, or I can download it. If I just click available online, I can go read it right away or download it. So a lot of good stuff came up in this search. Notice because I used a good combination of keywords. I didn't use too many words, but I didn't use too few words. So now it's like the right amount of focus for me because I'm getting a lot of relevant stuff. What if I need newspaper articles? Well, those are not going to come up in this Primo search. And a lot of times with a current issue, you want newspaper articles, but they might be something you have to subscribe to online, and you don't want to subscribe to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. So go over here to this tab at the top called newspaper articles, and we can look up book ban and let's do and public school, something like that. You know, and like I mentioned, book ban and censorship are kind of loaded terms. You're going to get a lot of sources that are against those things. So if you want people that are for them, you might use a different term. So notice Illinois passes a ban on book bans, meaning no school or library can ban any book, which you might think that's good if you don't believe in any censorship. But if you want kids to not be exposed to certain books, you might disagree with that. So to get a different view of it, you might say like use a different term like how schools should select books or how libraries should select books for children or age appropriate, how about this, books for children, and see if that comes up in any newspaper articles, or go back to the regular search if you want books and journal articles on that. So there's different, you want to try different keywords on your topic. And so a lot of good articles have come up there. Now, if you look up here at the top, there's a lot of tabs that you can use. I already mentioned the newspaper tab. This journal and magazine tab is good if you want to see if we own a certain magazine or journal. Like if you read something in the New Yorker or the Atlantic or National Review or Christianity Today magazine, and you just want to see if we have it, you can go look up the name of that magazine or journal in that tab and see where it is in our collection. If you want to go to the specific databases, which is step 2 in my recommended steps, you go up here where it says A to Z databases. And this is a very long list of databases that we have. Notice I'm going to scroll through and there's a lot. So it's kind of overwhelming if you were to look through all of them, but you don't have to because you can just click subjects here and then narrow it down to the subject that you're looking at. So with the censorship topic, you might look at communication studies databases. You could look at current events databases right here. You know, there's and different ways to do that. So let's see. Let's try communication studies. So then I search, and that's going to narrow down the list of databases to just the really good ones for my subject. So here's some at the top that you should try. And then when you go into that database, it's going to give you a search with a lot of options. It gives you your operators right here. You can select and, or not. And you can narrow it down to only full text articles, meaning ones we own online, or peer reviewed, which means academic articles. You can do it by year, and you can try different searches. So that's a great way to do that. You can also, another database I really recommend is the Atla Religion with Atla Serials. And I know a lot of papers at Regent ask you to use scripture in your paper. And this is a database I really recommend for that because it gives you a scripture tool up in the top left. You can click scriptures and then choose whatever book of the Bible. So if you want to see if, you know, maybe a verse in the Bible refers to censorship or something, or whatever topic you're looking at, healthcare, you can find, if you know that verse, you can go to the book, expand, and then look at all the chapters of that book, and then expand to the verses, and then select the verse. And I'm just picking a verse randomly right now, but it gives you all the articles on that verse in the Bible. And these are all academic articles that your professors will be happy with. So those are databases I really recommend in our A to Z database list. But what if you don't know which, you want some more help finding good databases? You can contact a librarian, or you can go to our research guides, which are linked on our library homepage, and they look like this. And we have research guides that we've made for basically every subject. So like business, about citation, communication. So here we would go and get some recommended databases. So let's try the education guide. So this shows me all kinds of recommended things for my topic, like the best databases for education, things about Christian education, special education. Another thing that you might look for in the database list is something for your course. So if you're in English 102, your research guide will be there. And this is also linked in your Canvas course. And it recommends some good magazines and newspapers and websites and think tanks to get good articles that have opinions and arguments on both sides, that have Christian arguments or other from different points of view, and recommends based on what topics you're interested in. Also some good websites to get articles on different sides, some reading lists of recommended books and articles on these topics that are common topics, and some good databases to use for basically any subject right here. All right, so those are research guides, and you can find those linked on our homepage, or in your Canvas course, you might have a link to one of them. And then the last thing I want to show you real quick is Google Scholar. So what if you're stumped over at Primo and the databases, you're not finding as much as you'd like? I recommend going to Google Scholar, and you can put in more terms here, usually censorship or book ban or book selection or age appropriate books for children and the school district. So I'm putting in a lot of terms. I know it's a lot, but it's still going to bring up some good stuff. So these are all articles and books that are more on the academic side of things. Notice here, book selection and censorship seems relevant, but it's an older book, so it might not be about the current issues, but it might still have some good thoughts on the topic. Notice up here, school libraries, if that's what you're interested in, that's and there's links in the right margin to our library articles. So the reason I get those links is because I've linked Google Scholar to our library. I go up to this menu at the top left, go down to settings, go over to library links, and then I look up Regent University, and I only have to do this once. Don't have to do it every time that I use Google Scholar. And then I'm showing you how you would do it. Click all the options for Regent University in America, not the one in England, and then you save it. And then you're going to get instant links to our articles whenever an article comes up in here that we own. So then you don't have to go over to our library and look it up. It's just going to take you right to the article. So directly gives you the article. Now, if it's a book, like this one is a book, it could take you over to Google Books and give you a preview of the book to see if you like it. Although this, I'm not sure if this is a book chapter. So if it gives you a book and you want to see if we have it at our library, just take it over to Primo and look up the book title. And then if we don't own it, you can always get it from another library. So if in Primo, and I also recommend Google. In Google, you could look up your topic and censorship of books and school districts, and you'll get some interesting opinion articles and news articles on it. As I mentioned, there might be a certain political bias from these articles. So you might want to, if you want like a more conservative or Christian point of view or something different than you're going to get in Google, you can enter in the name of a Christian or a conservative publication, because those don't always come up at the top of a Google search. So Christianity Today, I entered in with the topic to see what they have to say about it. And so that gives me a different point of view. And you can do that with any political or religious point of view that you're looking for if you know the names of certain publications that are they're associated with. And I can always help you with that because we want to get every point of view possible. But I just want to go real quick over to Primo and show you that you can do interlibrary loan requests in here. So say that I find a book in here that we don't own. And I'm just going to limit my search to books. Notice we do own books on that, and we do own ebooks on that topic. But if I see one that we don't own, I can request it. See where it says get it for me from other libraries. And this is a recent book, so I might want this if it's more up to date. I just click get it for me. And then I fill in a form where these blue links are. I either click get it to get a physical copy mailed to me, or I click get a chapter if I just want a chapter or if I need it quickly. So that's all part of your Primo account, is doing those interlibrary loan requests. All right. So those are my top three sort of tips of using Primo, using databases, and using Google Scholar. Does anyone have questions or want me to look up a different topic? I know I kind of covered that all very quickly. Because I was trying to get through it in a half an hour, which I almost did. I can help you right now, or if you want to make an appointment or just email me or something like that, I can help you with your topic at another time. But if you have any questions about the things I just went over in a hurry, I also had mentioned we have a tool called Libkey where you can download something called Libkey for your internet browser, and it will help you find, if you come across an article on the web, like an academic article or an ebook that's cited in an article somewhere else, or like on Wikipedia and the references, it will give you a link right back to our library to where we own that source. So you can see it instantly which sources we own when you're on the web. So I recommend doing that, and also linking Google Scholar. And then any other questions? This is a quiet bunch. Or like questions about best databases for your subject, or how to find anything. See, Barbara is typing a question, maybe. Rosario asks if I can send the recording. Yeah, I will try to figure out how to do that. Okay, so Joseph asks best database for finding analysis of specific authors' influence on culture. So this would be like literary authors, like novels, poems, plays, that kind of thing. Okay, yeah, I can show you that. So if we go over to the A to Z database list, or the research guide list, let's just try the A to Z database. We can click on subjects and then select English literature. And this is just an easy way to find it. The MLA database is the main one you want to look at, Joseph. So here, see where it says best bets. These are recommended databases for literary research. I would try MLA first because it's kind of like the granddaddy of, it's like the central place for literary articles and books. But these other ones are good too. The Arts and Humanities is one that's owned by a different company than MLA, so it has a slightly different collection. And then JSTOR has older journal articles that are often very good about literature. Especially if you're looking at like a classic author that's been around for a while. Literature Resource Center is good if you want some brief like biography of the author, which would be good if you're looking at the author's influence. So that would have a good biography section. And I don't know, like, are you looking for a specific author or to research a specific author? Okay. Anything about Lovecraft? I'll just show you a search in MLA just for his name. It's going to bring up almost 1,000 articles. So if you have a certain work or book or like theme or question about his work, you said influence on culture. Let's try influence. We don't want to try too many words because that would narrow it down too much. But like sometimes if you're not finding articles, it might be because you're using too many terms and you can't find any sources with all those terms. So maybe just trying a couple terms is good. Okay, so influence. There you go. We already can see influence, new directions in supernatural horror literature, the critical influence of H.P. Lovecraft, forgotten influence. That looks relevant. And influence is a good word to use because it's like sort of an academic word that people use to talk about how authors, affect the people that come after them. So there's a lot on that, and I can share this search with you, Joseph. If I go down to share and then get the permalink for the source, I can give you this search. And I could also do an or here, like impact or effect and culture. See if that changes my search. Now it narrows it down to only 4 because I added this extra word culture. But these could be good as well. So influence on culture wasn't quite as good of a search, but I want you to notice where it says check full text. That means we probably don't own this article, but we can still get it through interlibrary loan. Where it says PDF on this article, that means we own this one and you can just read it instantly. But what if I want to read this one? I'm I'm going to click on it and it's going to take me back to Primo where I can do an interlibrary loan request. So you remember what those blue links that say get it for me from other libraries? So I could click on, it's very simple, very fast. You just click get it to get a digital copy, and another library that we partner with will copy this for you and send it to you, usually, unless it's something rare and it can't be found. But so that is that. Does that sort of help you? But I would also try the you could try these other databases as well. So I'll send you that link as well. So Joseph, that's your first search right there. And then I'll also send you a list of literary research databases. Where did that go? And if you're looking for newspapers or magazines, we also have a LibGuide for the best databases for those too. Here's the database list for you, Joseph, or anyone that's doing literature. Any other questions? Trudy, are you still there? You were thinking about healthcare. I could, for that one, it's a very political issue, so I would look on Google as well for like articles on different sides of the issue. And I would try different terms like, socialized healthcare, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, single payer, if you're interested in that, like when the government controls the whole healthcare system. So I would try a lot of those different words, and I would try like think tanks and magazines and newspapers that are more conservative are going to be more critical of it, and more libertarian would be critical of it. Whereas more progressive or socialistic would be obviously in favor of it, and they want to go farther with it. You could also look at politicians that are in favor of it. Like I think Bernie Sanders wants to like go to a totally government healthcare system, and look at anything he's written on it, because that would be more like a current, like he's actually in the Senate, so he, potentially could actually make that into a law. So those would be good ways to use Google for that. And then in the scholarly literature, you'd want to like figure out what's the common term for that. Like one thing that might be researched is cost, and how government control or interference makes costs of healthcare go up, or whether it actually helps more people get coverage. Maybe try the Medicare and Medicaid angle, and like when Affordable Care, Obamacare started, did that help more people get coverage? So you'd probably want to narrow it down a little bit more into what you're looking for, like what question are you asking exactly? But I can show, let's see, for subjects, I would probably do either current events or one of these health. Public health database right there. But because I'm not exactly sure, I think I would start with Primo for that one. Let's see. Political science or could also be a good way to narrow down your databases. Let's see, okay, so Primo, and because I'm not sure, I might do, let's try government intervention, healthcare, and cost. So we could try different words. Like, how does it affect the cost of healthcare? Because I've heard some people say that it makes the cost go up because the hospitals know that they can charge more because they know the government is sort of like funding it. Doesn't seem very good, but so I'll do a different one. Let's see. try this to see like how did the Affordable Care Act affect the number of people that are covered, if that was a question you were asking. So like Medicaid expansion means more people are covered by the government now, because Medicaid is like government provided healthcare. And if we went over to Google Scholar or Google, actually I would try Google for this one. And I would try like maybe a conservative magazine like National Review and government healthcare or just healthcare, one or the other. So here they've got a list of all their articles on healthcare. And a lot of magazines will do that. They have a list of basically everything on the same topic. So these are all healthcare really recent articles that would be maybe a good way to like find a good way to narrow it or just see different opinions. Although a lot of these relate to other things that are not like government healthcare, but let's try healthcare, socialized. So these are going to be some good like opinion arguments from the conservative point of view, which would say take the government out of most businesses and take the government out of healthcare to make costs go down. And they would say that government healthcare doesn't like encourage competition and, you know, forming better healthcare technologies and things like that. So some good things came up there. Another term you might look for is just, like I said, the Affordable Care Act or single payer, which that is like Bernie Sanders' proposal to have the government control all of healthcare. So no, there's no private healthcare. We don't ever have to pay our own money, which sounds great, but then some people say that it doesn't work well in other countries that have done that. So see this article comparing healthcare around the world. It's comparing our semi-private, semi-public system with countries like England, where it's totally government controlled, or Canada. And so this is arguing, because I put the name of this magazine in, it's arguing against that. So if you want that point of view, these are some good articles. And if you wanted like a more progressive point of view, like you could try like Mother Jones or The Nation or The Atlantic. Those are all like more like progressive magazines. And we could try single payer healthcare. And so they're going to be more like in favor of it. So, and we could also even try Christian magazines and see if they have articles on it, like First Things or Christianity Today, and single payer healthcare. And there's also more like progressive Christian magazines like Sojourners that would probably be in favor of it. And then there's think tanks that do research on this stuff. And, you know, those are in the research guide for 102 also that would have some, because this is such a current and such a political issue. It's all of this stuff is not going to be found in academic literature, although you do need academic research too. But you'd also want to look at like what are people saying in the debate, in the cultural debate about it. Hopefully that helps somewhat with getting you started, and then you can like find good terms to use when you take it over to Primo to do the research. Does anyone have other questions? Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of what I was looking up, Trudy. Should the government be in control of all of it? That's single payer healthcare is a term people use for that. Or socialized medicine is another term that you might try. Or private healthcare, which is like the opposite argument. You could try that, looking up that. So these are, you know, depending on what you're looking up, you might want to try different places first. Like Google might be a good place to start if you're not sure, or if you need those opinion articles on different sides. Maybe the library is a good place to start because you already know your academic terminology. And then, okay, censorship. Yeah, it's going to be pretty, Jordan, it's going to be pretty much two different sides, I think. Especially because it's kind of a heated debate right now. And another thing you might try looking at for that is parental rights is a term that was used recently. Like, should parents have a say? Should parents be able to go to the school board or whatever government organization and say, they object to certain books. You might research, like I was showing you, book collection and libraries, because libraries have to make decisions about what books they purchase and put out on display. So that would be a good term to use to research what are the policies of book collection for children in libraries. And the ALA is the American Library Association. They don't think any books should be censored or banned or limited. And so they're kind of in the center of that debate, and whereas on the other side, there's people saying, well, we have to look at what's age appropriate, what's going to ruin children's innocence or be sort of immoral or a bad influence or trying to indoctrinate them into something or something. So those are all good words, and I could help you with that if you want to make an appointment, or I could, email you some things for it. I'm not sure if you're going to find the middle ground as much, but just looking at different sides would be good. All right. Well, let me know if you guys have any more questions. And like I said in my PowerPoint, it's dcruz@regent.edu if you want to email me with any questions. And we also have our Ask a Librarian page for chat, submit a question, making appointments. Thank you for coming.